The main news at this hour, the White House has admitted the existence of side deals between the International Atomic Energy Agency, a UN agency, and Iran that do not include the United States or the so-called P5+1, which is one of the most ridiculous terms. National Security Advisor Susan Rice said the deals aren't secret, but she refused to disclose any details. Imagine that. Earlier this week, the Obama administration sidelined Congress, going to the United Nations first. The GOP doesn't seem particularly upset. We'll have more on that in just a moment. It's long been a part of new immigrants gaining American citizenship that they take the oath to defend the United States of America. But not anymore. The Obama administration says incoming citizens can now skip that part if they so choose. It gets messy sometimes. We're posting a link to the story on my Facebook and Twitter pages. Please go there and let us know what you think. The Citizenship and Immigration Service is asking for feedback on the new rule. We put up that link there so that you can, well, tell us what you think, and we'll let them know what you think. Please go there on Facebook and Twitter. Lou Dobbs News, and the Facebook page is Lou Dobbs Tonight. Joining me now, former U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, American Enterprise Institute Senior Fellow, John Bolton. Also with us tonight, former White House National Security Council staffer under Presidents Bush and Obama, Gillian Turner, both Fox News contributors. And I'm going to, if I may, Gillian, start with you. The national security apparatus of this administration seems to be operating with an independent view of what is the national interest, and it is one that is inexplicable, I think, to most Americans. What do you think?
Well, I think the short-term objectives for the administration are that this deal creates a thaw in the U.S.-Iran bilateral relationship, and in the long term that this somehow translates into a completely normalized relationship, which, as you know, is a very dangerous,
Do you think it's antithetical to U.S. interests? Do you think it is extraordinarily dangerous to the United States and our allies in the region?
I do, because as we speak, you know, the Iranian regime continues to sponsor terrorist organizations and their proxies. It continues to commit egregious human rights violations against its own people, and it continues to incite sectarian violence across the region.
So where is the Republican Party, John Bolton? Where are the presidential candidates? My God, we got 16 of them. They are silent on the issue. We're sitting here with side deals between the IAEA and the United Nations agency and the Iranians and our national security apparatus and our president, and our State Department has no idea of what those details are.
Well, I think this issue ought to be at the center of the presidential debate. This goes to threats to the United States, threats to our closest allies like Israel. And, you know, it turns out the first job of the President of the United States is to protect the country. That's what ought to be the focus of debate, because Barack Obama and his two secretaries of state, John Kerry and Hillary Clinton, have punted on this one.
Gillian, I mean, we, as those following this negotiation for 2 years, talked about the desperation of the Obama administration to have a deal, any deal, a bad deal, a horrible deal. Talk and reporting capitulation by this administration to Iran on nearly every level, whether it's inspection, whether it is retainment of centrifuges and fissionable material. And now there's no mention of capitulation to the United Nations, which the President of the United States chose to send this deal for affirmation rather than the Congress of the United States. Where in the hell is the outrage?
I mean, there's been some outrage, you know, on the part of concerned citizens, as you mentioned, but none from the government. You know, now the administration has taken this sort of Iran deal show on the road, right? And yesterday's meeting between Prime Minister Netanyahu, Secretary Carter, was opening night abroad. Now, by all critical accounts,
and an insult to the
Israelis.
Israelis. And an insult to the Israelis. He went there with nothing, John, nothing. Yeah. Then he goes to Saudi Arabia, where at least Prince Bandar bin Sultan says, former ambassador to the United States, says, you know, we're going to take action ourselves.
Well, you know, never in the history of the State of Israel has it been closer to Saudi Arabia than in their mutual rejection of Obama's deal, because they both see the consequences of a nuclear Iran. And that's why this latest story about these two IAEA deals with Iran is so important. Actually, both agreements are mentioned in the Vienna deal. It's just that our Secretary of State hasn't been shown what they say yet.
Nor our National Security Advisor, nor anyone else that we can discern.
And it's critical to the
And by
implementation.
the way, they're indifferent to the details.
Of course they are.
That specificity is so annoying.
Exactly. But they're critical to the implementation of the deal. If the IAEA can't say, we find no military dimension, the sanctions don't come off.
Do the Republicans, either the presidential candidates or the leaders of the House, Speaker Boehner or Leader McConnell, do they have the guts or the inclination to stop this? Or, or the ability?
You know, look, I think Congress should not be focusing on the highway bill, honestly. I think they ought to be talking about this direct threat to American national security.
They're not.
That's what the people...
Will that change?
I don't know, but that's what the people should demand.
That's a hell of a note, as they say out in Texas.
That's what I would have campaigned on.
Well, not too late. John Bolton, Gillian Turner. Thank you very much, Gillian.